Second by Alderman Holt. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Item E, approval of minutes. Looking for motion to approve the minutes of May 8th, 2023. Who's that? Motion by Alderman Robinson. Second by Alderman Milton. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Item F, approval of warrants. May 23rd, May 2023, and June 2023. Amount $244,309.35. Motion by Alderman Holt, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Artis. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Mayor reports, I have two items. One, we have a big Juneteenth celebration this weekend. Actually, it's Monday, actually on Juneteenth. There's some other activities planned in other municipalities, but our portion that we're hosting is June 19th, an actual holiday. There'll be a parade that begins at 11 o'clock, leaving from the Boys and Girls Club on West Florissant. And we're here to the city of Dellwood's Rec Center. So we get there, there'll be a parade of activities at the Rec Center throughout that day. So it's a huge event to partner with a bunch of municipalities, as well as Councilwoman Greta Days and Councilwoman Shalana Webb. And so it's the first time we actually partnered with other municipalities and our county council people. So if you are available Monday, I advertise open to come out and represent the city. Again, the parade starts at 11 and we'll end up at the rec center and we'll be there, five o'clock is the end of the activities. Secondly, I would like to thank the board, residents, staff for their condolences and presents and gifts with the death of my mom, whose service was a week and a half ago. And I greatly appreciate it. I'm totally overwhelmed by the presence at her service, by this community, and it will never be forgotten. And so thank each and every one of you all that attended or called or sent cards. It meant a lot to me and my family. As you know, I was very, very close with my mom, and they kind of helped us get through it. So I just want to say thank you all for that. Appreciate that. With that, we'll go to any board announcements. There are none. We'll go to item new business. City Administrator report, Terry Wilson.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Mayor, and residents of Dellwood. As usual, it's been very busy. In City Hall, I have scheduled our one-on-one staff evaluations, and so those will take place beginning Tuesday on the 13th, and then I'll wrap those up on the 20th. So basically, it'll be a one-on-one. I'll be giving an evaluation of their self-evaluation. I'll give them feedback on their self-evaluation, and I'll be giving them evaluation as well. Also, I recently interviewed 5 candidates for Public Works, and we recently hired one that he began June 1st. He's working out well so far. Also, I have a planned staff meeting for July 20th, where I'll be giving out some professional development tips. We'll be going over the handbook and have some open dialogue about improvements and feedback of the operational process around here in City Hall. Our code enforcement has been very busy these last few months. Thank you to the residents, aldermen, and the mayor for all your calls and everything. So we can, you all of our ears and eyes, and so you all help us get right on top of those issues. And we try to make sure that we're proactive as well, but it helps to get that phone call to let us know where those sketchy spots are in the city of Dellwood. Also, this month, last month and this month, I attended a federal grants training to get some tips on how to apply for federal grants for the city. I also attended the municipal park pre-application meeting. You all will hear a little bit more about, the dealings around for the grant that's coming up. Met with White's Design Group on last Friday. Well, this past Friday. Yeah, that was last Friday. And we brainstormed a little bit, and you'll hear a little bit tonight of what came out of that brainstorming. Myself and the mayor and White's Design Group met. Also, I intend to apply for $450,000 to improve our park space. $450,000 grant. The deadline is August 28th for submission, so everything will be moving rapidly. So I'll be coming to you all for permission to do that soon. Also, I'm currently conducting a study on our building fees. I selected 9 municipalities to do some research on, so in the next few weeks, I'll be producing that for you all. Also, Midwest Bank Center is seeking some old Dellwood photos, so any of you residents that have old photos, because they're going to be doing an art mural project in their branch, and so they want to make sure they kind of include the integrity of the community and some history around the community. And so I'll be reaching out to some of y'all, and some of y'all can reach out to me if you have pictures and old photos from Dellwood's past, present, and future. And then lastly, we're in the third phase of our codification process. Myself and Gaynell, I give all praise to Gaynell. She's been working really hard. She's answered 217 questions. So our codes, as you all know, is just on paper, hard copy right now, but they will soon be online and you'll be able to view them like Google. And so we're in the third phase, and we're in the third phase now, which is the final review. And so after the final review, it'll go live. But with that being said, Mayor and Board, if y'all don't have any questions, that is my report for this month.
Any questions for the city administrator? Now, go to item B, Lieutenant Thompson, police report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
For the month of May, we had 26 alarm calls, 4 accidental injuries, 21 auto accidents, 4 burglary reports, 23 check the welfares, 14 disturbance calls, 9 stolen vehicles, 5 larceny reports, 1 missing person, 1 missing juvenile, 3 York calls, 4 in violations, 2 property damage, 46 sick cases, 12 suspicious persons, 8 calls for shots heard, 18 suspicious vehicles, 122 traffic violations, 28 parking citations, 10 911 hangups, and that brings us to a total of 607 calls for the month of May. Neighborhood Watch. This past meeting, we had a BJC employee who works closely with the police departments, courts, and the healthcare industry. His name is Sean Gibbs. He's a CIT certified person. He deals with people with mental health issues, and we got a lot of people out here that suffer from this. And he's working closely with law enforcement to try to get help for these people, locations to take them versus putting them in jail, locking them up. And so he discussed what he do and the different routes the citizens can take as far as dealing with these people. Block concerns was loose dogs and traffic issues, which is something we work on daily. Any questions?
Any questions for Lieutenant Thompson? Thank you, sir. Item C, Parks and Recreation, Sean Wilson.
Good evening, everybody. Starting with the senior group. The seniors had their monthly meeting last month. Tomorrow they'll be taking a field trip down to Farmington. They didn't say where they were going, but they were going on a field trip tomorrow.
Are they going to Catfish Kettle?
Okay.
That's where they're going.
Visitors to the rec center. We had a total of 600 visitors to the rec center last month. Upcoming events, we have the Juneteenth, which the mayor spoke on the 19th, and the 24th, we're having a 70s skate party at the at the skating rink. So you guys come out and enjoy yourselves a little bit. Updates on the past events, we had the concert on last week. That went pretty well. The fishing derby we just had this prior weekend went really good. We had about 22 to 25 kids that came out. The kids had a good time, man. Had a lot of fish caught that day. Went really well. We had about 25 to 30 runs last month. With that, that was including the parks and the rec center. And we're also, with the Red Bear Rookies, we start our first practice tomorrow. The games will start going this weekend. We actually starting our first wrestling practice as well on Wednesday at the rec center. That's where we have right now.
I just want to say kudos to Sean Wilson on the fishing derby. I've been going to each and every fishing derby since I've been there, and that's the best one we've had. Yeah, that's over 25 kids a winner. They caught like 29 fish. So it was an outstanding event. A lot of participation, a lot of parental participation. Yeah. You know, it was a great event. So thank you guys for what you guys did over there. Any questions, Mr. Wilson?
What type of fish do we stock the lake with?
So we actually had catfish and bluegills. Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you. Nice fish fries.
Any other questions, Mr. Wilson? Thank you, sir. Item D, new business. Police, there's, in the fact that there was a police contract, it has not really changed, you just need to re-up. The price hasn't changed, it's no increases. And so, I take it back, there's no increase in the first year. I think that's 3%, which we've been pretty good about not having really any increases, period. So, I think it's a very fair contract. At any time, we can break the contract, the way it's written. So we're not tied to it, you know, if we're gonna break it. So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the police agreement. Motion by Alderman Johnson, a second. Second by Alderman Melton. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Johnson,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderwoman Melton,
Yes.
Alderwoman Wilkins,
Yes.
Alderwoman Artis,
Yes.
Alderwoman Carter, Alderman Holt.
Yes.
Motion passed.
The last business item on the agenda is a park plan discussion. As you know, we had some issues with our pool. There have been some estimates as much as 500 to 800,000 to fix that pool. And so, being good stewards of the residents' funds, myself and the administration feel it's not a great idea to sink those kind of funds into a project that doesn't even return nowhere near the revenue that, you know, it's for to make any sense. And so with that, we have some discussions with Weiss, who is our trusted engineer that we use quite a bit. He's a former Dellwood resident, by the way. And
born and raised 1718 Bradshaw.
Thank you, Bradshaw. That's a landmark. We gotta put something right there. Weiss interior. So, you know, we have some discussions on how the best way maybe to repurpose that area to really maximize the rec center. I think we did a great job when we did the skating rink. That's a low maintenance, but yet how we use project. Actually, we don't even spend really any money taking care of the skating park other than cutting grass. So as you see, there's a big usage of it. So we try to come up with another kind of concept that can make sense. And so Mike's is here today to just have a discussion, because if we are kind of on board with that, we're going to also have to have some public input, and then we will try to apply for this in our park grant that's coming up, is due in August. And so we're able to use Weiss because we received the park planning grant. And we received, so that's how we're paying for this expertise. So with that, I'm going to use the monitors, and we're gonna.
Mayor, would you like to come?
Yes, sir. And I'm going to show you some potential.
Anybody hello again, everybody?
It's cool.
Okay, so as the mayor indicated, this is really part of the planning process. So to get input from the public and from the board. We brainstormed several times. So the charge was from the mayor, we have to come up with some kind of multi-purpose use for that area. So not only to repair the pool is the numbers he was talking about, but every community struggles with maintaining a pool like that, and it's always a loser for communities. It's very difficult for communities to keep up with the pools. It really is. So we just give you a little quick background. We do a lot of, as you know, park design, the roller rinks all over town. So we've won some national awards for some of the projects we've done in different types of multi-purpose courts. So this court you see here gives a lot of flexibility. It gives striping for basketball. You can have 4 individual pickup games going on, 2 large full-size games. It also provides for any other multi-purpose going the other direction. And then something that's very popular, and I would like to see potentially that you all consider pickleball. Okay, pickleball is extremely popular. Let's not forget one of the most famous tennis players in the world, Arthur Ashe, was an African American, and he grew up right here in Richmond Heights, and there's a lot of legacy there. I'd love to see some form of that started here in Dellwood. Whether that goes or not, it's certainly up to you. But this shows the striping for 4 pickleball courts. It's being played by all ages. So we also are showing a pavilion over there. It holds that particular size right now holds 8 full-size picnic tables. We also, along the parking lot side, are showing individual shelters with picnic tables all along the parking lot. I can zoom in a little there, thank you. And then the bleachers that were it's the old top of the pool house with stairs, putting a shade on top of there so people, if there was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament or some other events or tournaments, people could use that as a watching area for the main event. The other area over there is a synthetic turf area that will have rubberized, so it'll be soft, similar like you would see on a playground, with a potential shelter and sail to provide some shade on those areas. And it could be used anything. It could be used for an outdoor yoga class. It could be used for just kids play while the adults are over playing one of the other sports. So we didn't want to have too much restriction on that grass area. We just think at this time it can be used for just general play or outdoor class of some sort of exercise or stretching or anything that is in the community that needs an outdoor space. So you're seeing kind of what would be considered the final product. There's obviously would be a lot of work that would go into getting to this stage. The cost that we're going to have is the demolition of the pool and the walls and the steel, because anything we build, we want to make sure it has a good base below it. So, unfortunately, you can't fill in the pool with dirt and then put something on top of it. If you trap water under there, there'll be freeze thaw, there'll be potential heaving issues. So we haven't gotten to that stage yet of doing the cost estimate, because the mayor and Terry wanted us to at least show you what we're thinking and what we could do, and then get your ideas, see if do you want to change something. But what we're doing here is maximizing the space that we have here with multi-purpose court striping, etc. And there's a company out there we work with that is an expert at this when and if we get to that point. But we're kind of looking for input now. Do you like? Do you not like? Okay. Do you see anything we should add?
Council, we're going to speak to ask for the mic. Alderman Carter.
Yes, we saw the bleachers over here
Or are you thinking of putting bleachers on the other side because we were saying that you might not be able to see the other side play? So would you have bleachers on both sides?
Well, we could, I mean, I guess you could add some portable bleachers right there next to the pavilion, if you so desire, some small bleachers, similar to what you might have at a baseball park, without getting, I'm not sure you want to get permanent with that. You know, something you maybe could move around, but that's something that can be added.
And then one last question, is it versatile for volleyball as well too, or?
Yeah, there's certainly could be striped for volleyball. Are you thinking sand or just regular hard court?
Probably regular,
Yeah.
I think that could be.
The sand is a whole different thing of
Okay,
maintenance.
yeah.
And all that, but certainly we could add some area designated volleyball striping amongst the striping maze that we have, but you know, different color schemes is what we're showing here. So I have seen no reason why not.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Melton.
I was with her on the volleyball, and I was thinking about more tennis.
Well, tennis you could probably do 2 tennis courts, because it's typically 2 pickleball courts per 1 tennis court. I'm just trying to share with you, tennis is somewhat popular right now still, but pickleball is extremely popular. There's a lot of good community groups that you get out of it. More people can play. It's less strenuous, and that's why I just made that suggestion. But again, if you want tennis, you could potentially fit 2 tennis courts kind of where the basketball courts are running in that direction. Again, that's something that could come later if you want. You know, all you gotta do is, there's a lot of new portable netting systems out there, and the mayor is familiar with all this from his job. Even the pickleball nets will be portable. They have wheels, they lock down, so you have somewhere in storage inside the rec center, either 4 portable pickleball nets or 4 portable tennis nets that you could move around. So the whole idea here from the mayor and Terry was to give us as much flexibility for events, for people to come and do different things, and some of it could even occur at the same time. For instance, we show some poles there, they're a little hard to see, but I propose that at some point we have a netting system similar to what you would see down at the ballpark, where it's a black netting that would run on a cable, and you've seen it at basketball courts indoor as well, that you could separate at least half the court down the center, where if, let's say there's a group playing pickleball and there's another group playing basketball, you could still have that occurring at the same time.
Alderman Wilkins.
Is the only way to access this is through the inside of the facility, because I don't see any openings and things, so I was just wondering.
That has been a discussion item, and that's certainly up to the city how to control that. I recommend that you all think that through, make sure, you know, how you want to handle that with security and access and time of day and all that. Easily done right here at, you know, near that, where that pavilion is. But again, that's staff needs to think through how, or do you always want to go through the rec center, and there may be days where you don't. And there might have to be some kind of a gate code or swipe code or something like that, which are pretty common nowadays. So, but that's something we have talked about, but that's good thinking. Something you will all have to consider down the road.
Any other questions? Alderman Artis.
I'm just gonna be a little low maintenance on trying to take care of.
Yeah, everything we're proposing here is pretty low maintenance. You know, there will be some striping down the road. We're showing you the state of the art is an acrylic-based material. It's used.
So all of what I see, will it have to be redid every year or?
Not every year. A lot of it might depend on usage. Some of it will be dependent on what kind of weather we get. But it might need attention every 2 to 3, 4 years, Again, hopefully most of it's just like touch up, but then maybe in 5 years, you might have to resurface. And what we're proposing, what we would do as part of the estimate is use what's called, it's a concrete, it's called post-tension concrete. And post-tension concrete cracks way less, okay? Asphalt cracks a lot, moves a lot. So the state of the art now is post-tension concrete. We're doing that at all the other park facilities. And it has steel tension cables in it to prevent the concrete from moving as much. I'm not saying there's going to be zero cracks, but it will be very minimal.
Any other questions? Alderman Hope.
Is there any doubt of having some type of tarp to put down in the winter time to keep the tarping it in the winter, help protect the surface of the snow?
I'm not sure that, maybe over the synthetic grass area possibly, but I don't think you're going to need to on the actual courts area. I also want to point out too that right now, we don't have numbers to this. Everything is very expensive. The cost of this project may need to be phased based on the amount. I wish we were getting more. The as Terry and my daughter were at Lindsay, I think some of you probably remember Lindsay. She does a lot of the park work. So we'll try to get obviously as much value into that first grant as we can, but then some of the stuff some of the other niceties or some of the other stuff have to be phased. Because the first thing we want is, unfortunately, we're gonna have to spend some money to demo the pool itself, and then fill it in, and then pour the concrete, and stripe it, and some of the other pavilion, and it just depends on, because things are so darn expensive nowadays. It's all gotten really crazy. So I wish we had more leeway, but at this point, until you tell me, yeah, I like this, we'll price everything and then we'll submit the grant. And, then after that, the actual, get the authority to go to bid would be next spring. We'll see what the real numbers come in at. And when we get to that point, if we get the construction grant, the design and construction, we'll have it such that we can have pieces with alternates and different things. So like the base bid's going to be to build the facility and the base and the concrete. Some of the other things, the pavilion, the sails, those might have to come later. Unless, depending on how much in your budget, you could allow for additional over and above the grant amount. That's obviously your all's decision. But I don't want you to think everything on here is affordable for $450 at this time.
One last question, is it come with lighting
Well,
with the 450?
So we have existing lighting there. The plan would be to estimate upgrading the lighting in the same places with some new LED lighting that are shown similar to what we have done at the Rotary. Now, we may want to add a couple more heads to the poles because you can do a dual head to the pole fixtures to get more lighting, to give it a little better activity at night. You don't quite need that same level at the roller rink because you're not playing a sport. I mean, roller skating, you need good ambient, good surrounding light. But when you're hitting a ball or shooting basketball, you need better lighting. So we'll have to have a little better lighting.
Any other questions? What?
And is this the actual color scheme we're looking at? Or is it
This just ideas, just throwing it out.
It's a somewhat common, nice, soothing to the eye color scheme that we've used in other places.
Again,
But it's subject to change.
this is not final, it's just something we're going to the board for discussion. We're gonna have some public input as well, and we'll take all that and see what, the boards, would have to approve us to move forward with the grant, this concept. So there's still some other steps we have to take. Just want to introduce it to the board tonight, to give you an idea of what we're kind of thinking. If the board is thinking something different, please take some time to, digest this and, express that to the administration, so we can be ready once we, invite the public, that we'll know what's the different options.
Yeah, and we're having this meeting tonight because we wanted, grant requires 2 meetings with as part of a public presentation. So this is the first meeting. And so the sooner you can relay your thoughts or differences or add-ons or things like the volleyball in that, the better, because Terry and our office are on a time frame that the physical construction grants are due in August. It seems like a long way away, but Lindsay has to finish the planning report first so that we can wrap that up and then use that to get points for the construction application. So timing is of the essence.
Okay, sir, thank you for that. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last on our agenda, we have a special presentation. And, time to time, we've started to acknowledge some of our Dellwood residents, particularly our youth, that are doing some amazing things. And we have a young lady who's been born and raised in the city of Dellwood. Her name is Precious Spirit.
Amen.
If you haven't heard that name, then you have not been watching TV, you haven't been listening to the radio, and you're not on social media. She's on all 3. And she's an outstanding student, just graduated from Riverview with 4.0. She has a full ride to Washington University. And she's very active in the community. She's worked with Congresswoman Cory Bush. She's an advocate for young people and working hard to try to get people engaged in the system. And that's one thing we need. We need our young people to encourage their friends to get engaged. So she's been an excellent role model as it pertains to that. It's been a pleasure of mine to watch Precious work as a child on Quaker, and with her mom who's here and her grandmother who's here and her family, her uncle and aunt. And she's always been an outstanding young lady. And so the fact that we could claim her as one of our own is really a blessing for our city. And she is unapologetically a Dellwood resident. She makes it known that she's from Dellwood, and she represents us. We just did a story on Channel 4 in which I was interviewed, and the reporter was just amazed at, all of her accomplishments. He was just really in awe. Because too many of our young people today, some of them are, going the wrong direction. And Precious is definitely a great example of what happens if you work hard and listen to your parents and grandparents and do what's right. And so she's done that. And I thought it was my great honor today to present her with the proclamation on behalf of the city of Dellwood.
Get close, yeah.
Let's go.
All right, y'all ready? All right, here we go. 1, 2,
Short.
3. Take another one. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that one perfect, bro.
Yes.
She's gonna say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to say I'm grateful, honored, and blessed to receive this proclamation on this evening. Again, I always tell people that Dellwood is my grassroots. As being a young person, it's very important that we be a part of the decision-making process. I got involved because there are so many misconceptions and stereotypes that are put on young people. And as being young, Black, gifted, educated, it's very important that I use my voice to be a voice for the voiceless. So definitely, Ripley Garden School District is also my grassroots to represent for our young scholars, because we have so many young scholars in our district and so many in Dellwood. So again, I'm going to forever cherish Dellwood in my heart, and I'm grateful for this proclamation on this evening. Thank you all so much.
With that concludes our meeting. Now it's time for public portion. If you have any public comments, please state your name, address, and public statement.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
A special good evening to my Marine Corps buddy, Attorney Gray. Simple fact. Yes. Huh?
Were you at the 24th?
Airport?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's where I go to use.
But anyway, to get past Marine Corps stuff, last month, we spoke about the business across the street. And if you guys have went by, you have noticed that they did take care of the lights. So I have a special guest just to say hello, Mr. Mosa. He is the owner of a Hawaiian Grill. So I wanted him to see our board, to see how Dellwood operates. He's over there working, but he took out the time to come to see who runs the city of Dellwood. Last but not least, Mr. Jones, I have a special gift for you. I'm not going to read it, but it's something special just for you.
Well, okay.
You're a great mayor.
Amen. Yes.
You're the public.
Ellis Fitzwalter, son Sal Schluter. Congratulations, Precious, and much like her grassroots, my grassroots is Dellwood. My grassroots school is Riverview as well. And we'd love to have somebody like you participate in our coalition that's community-minded. I want to thank Dellwood, City Dellwood, for allowing us on June 10th to meet up at the rec center for our awareness walk. Trina joined us on the walk, and Lieutenant Thompson escorted us to ensure our safety on the walk. You know, we had a new face at the walk, a mother that had just lost her son back in April to fentanyl, a mixture of fentanyl and crack cocaine. So I want to thank, Dellwood for supporting us in them efforts. Also, I know it's ways off, but I put some flyers out there. We're having our next event in Dellwood will be a blood drive in memory of our son who we lost. So, I thank you, Dellwood, for the support that you're giving our coalition and helping us educate the youth. Now, let's start the public portion about the pool. That pool is kind of grassroots. I grew up with that pool. We used it quite a bit when our kids were little, and now that we're retired, we were planning on using it again. And I understand the cost is very prohibitive, but could that pool not be turned into something that would bring revenue by doing a swim team again? Classes like, water yoga or whatever, that they do. Have more events like that, maybe put a portion of that pool into like a splash pad like they're doing like at Bangor Park in Florissant. And then maybe it could make money. I'm sure, that rendition of what Mr. Weiss showed is very nice. But I'm sure that's gonna come at quite a cost as well. Is that gonna be generate any type of revenue? And the pickleball thing, while I know it's popular, our neighbor across the street just broke his femur playing pickleball. And when they went to the emergency room, they said, "Oh, we got another one from pickleball." And I've known several people that's in our age bracket. Swimming is much easier on our bones than a pickleball court. So that's just something I would hope that you would give some thought to, and not trying to talk anything down to you.
My father designed the pool. So our name's on the plaque from the original pool, so believe me, it's also near and dear to me.
Yeah.
But
they're hard to maintain.
if I may,
Back and forth about the portion.
Thank you.
You going mad, ain't you?
I'm gonna get hurt this week.
Jealous ball. Any other public comments?
Yeah, probably.
No public comments? No public comments, let's move for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Nelson, any discussion? All first, by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign, meeting adjourned.
On the computer. Thank you.